So it is June 2024, and what's going on with the housing market? So got this slide from Bankrate. Buy now or wait? That's the question prospective homeowners have been struggling to answer in today's housing market. Home prices have been skyrocketing recently, and the Federal Reserve's work to tame inflation sent mortgage rates soaring too. The combination has led many would-be buyers to pick the wait side of the equation. Without a doubt. When we're going through things, we've seen prices increase. We've seen, where rates have come up as well. Buyers are still out there buying, homes are being sold. And it's different here versus other parts of the country. You're seeing some weakening in second home markets and markets, some certain parts of Florida, Texas, Arizona. In the Northeast, as the numbers come out, as we're approaching half the year, they're going to be stronger here than a lot of other parts of the, of the country. And, it does boil down to location. Closer you are to the city, probably the stronger the market is. So we continue to monitor, see what's going on. Lawrence Young, the chief economist at NAR, said astonishingly greater than 90% of the country's metro area experienced home price growth despite facing the highest mortgage rates in 2 decades. In the current market, rising prices are the direct result of insufficient housing supply not meeting the full demand. Without a doubt. We are still low on inventory. I think in our area, we will actually see lower inventory numbers this year than last year, where I originally thought last year was going to be the bottom. Hopefully this will be the bottom and we will start to see more come up. But, people ask, when will we see more inventory on a larger scale? A big part of that comes from as, number one, when rates do come down, but also as life factors happen. And a typical life cycle, for people to stay in their home is 7 to 10 years. So I'm guessing where we get kind of back to that normal, that $5 million homes sold in the U.S. range, probably going to take about another couple of years. So we'll be watching it through. We'll see what happens. We monitor it closely, but we'll see what continues. The mortgage report said, with the continued imbalance between supply and demand, home prices are expected to keep rising. Especially as rates do dip at some point into the sixes. It's an election year. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some, Fed rate cuts, maybe one, I think, by the end of the year. And I do see that, as rates do come down, we will see some more of that highest and best in the sixes. When it gets into the fives, it will probably balance itself out, partly because it will be that 2027, let's call horizon, plus the difference between that 3.5 and 5 won't be that much of a spread, and people can cash in on the equity that they've had for their current homes of the run up since they've owned the home probably pre-pandemic, and get into something new as life factors have changed. Bill McBride, founder of Calculated Risk. I always like to start with inventory, since inventory usually tells the tale, and current inventory is increasing year over year, but is still well below pre-pandemic levels. As I said, when you look at a national level, yeah, I do believe we are seeing inventories rise, and that's why you are seeing some markets stabilize in other areas. In our area, it's still probably a little bit light. Active listings end May of each year. So in 2017, there was about 1.25 million homes that were active in the U.S. as of May. Right now, we're looking at almost 800,000. So, we're seeing that we're not far, but we're about 35-40% off. And I think, like I said, I think that's going to continue a little bit for the next couple of years. There's a map here, and I encourage you guys to take a look at it, of change in inventory. So New York has only changed 1.8%. To give you an example, the state of Washington has changed 52%. The national average is 35.2%. We are almost unchanged in inventory. That's a big difference. That's a stat there that really does make a big difference out there. Lance Libber, co-founder of Resi Club. Why are new listings up year over year? The lock-in effect is easing as the initial mortgage rate shock recedes in the rearview mirror, and as some sellers come to terms with the fact that their life circumstances have changed and sub 4% mortgage rates aren't returning anytime soon. Additionally, some newbie investors who piled into the market during the boom are realizing that being a landlord isn't easy. 100%. You're seeing people that jumped in, they got those second homes, the Airbnb, bought investment properties. They're starting to turn those over now, and I do think you'll see that. You had a conversation with one of my investor clients, and the numbers are tough right now because the prices are up, interest rates are up, and even though rents are up, they don't match the growth of the pricing and interest rates. So some people are still purchasing those investment properties if there's some margin left in them. And then, when the rates do come down and you refinance, you will be able to have a better return on investment. So it's just kind of sitting with it, planning for the future. One thing I've learned in real estate investing is got to be long-term. Okay. And one of the other things here, 1 in 3 homes on the market today are new constructions. And now remember, this is not huge for our market. We are seeing a little bit more, but not dramatic. So as we come through, we're not seeing a huge amount of foreclosures. These other factors that help kind of bring up the inventory in other parts of the country, we don't have as much. And, I'm going to leave it on this. What is America's opinion of best long-term investment that was registered out this year? 36% of people said real estate. 22% said stocks, mutual funds. Gold was 18%. Savings account was 13%. Bond was 4%. Cryptocurrency was 3%. Real estate is by far still one of the best investments that you can make out there. So as you're going through, see what kind of makes sense for you. Any questions? What's the house worth? How do I prep it? When's the right time? You're looking to buy a property. What makes sense? How do we put something together on the investment side? What do? Trying to get a flip property, trying to get a property to hold. What kind of makes sense for you? Feel free to reach out with any questions. Happy to help and go over things.